Shall we begin?
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Enough to Keep Going podcast on the E2KG network. This is 191. Can you believe it? We are inching our way forward to 200. Granted, we're actually over 200. If you stuck around this long and remember all the different iterations of this podcast, then congratulations. But we are so close. And joining me tonight as we keep inching our way to 200, Swiss Guard. Swiss, how are you, sir?
Not too bad. I wish I had more time to invest in some of the games I played the last couple of
Oh,
weeks,
I
though.
can I can appreciate that, actually. I can very much appreciate that. Actually, I've had a chance to spend a lot of time, but not in anything new or exciting. So I'm glad to hear that you guys have had a chance to dig into some things. So joining us tonight, Swiss, is Tau Master 99. Tau, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Well, I am glad to have you, sir. You were not here the other week when I got to talk about Madden and taking on the Bears franchise
Oh boy.
and my challenges there. So maybe we'll come back to that in the playlist. On the Enough to Keep Going podcast, every other week we come at you with the GX show, the game experience show. This is our week to talk about what we've been playing, and in the alternate weeks, we dive into the previous week or two news and analysis of the game industry. Tao, you and I had a great discussion last week around the game industry, but tonight we get to kick back, kick up our heels, relax a little bit, shrug the shoulders, and really talk about what we've been playing, what we've been enjoying. But for better or for worse, because we are grown-ups and because we are parents and adults, we've also given ourselves an assignment, and so we'll make sure to cover that as well. But first, before we get into the assignment, I want to talk about if anybody's been playing anything new and exciting. And Swiss, I want to start with you because I came home tonight early from work because 6 days ago, Gamefly shipped out a game to me, and I was so excited to maybe get a chance to sneak in a little bit of it before the podcast. But my Gamefly is not in St. Louis, it's in Pittsburgh, and I'm in Wisconsin. And so 6 days later, my Pokemon Snap has not arrived, but yours has. So you've played some Pokemon Snap. Talk about it.
Well, first, it arrived at the speed of light, so I went ahead and
Because
just
you
bought it.
downloaded it? Or
Yeah, I bought it digitally. So, I figured it'd be something that my kids might be into, and it was an excuse to also pick something up for the new release segment on the show. So, and
You're a true
I've
team
played it.
player.
Yeah, I
well, have
remember
your kids tried it,
renting.
or is it just you?
I'm sorry.
Have your kids tried it, or is it just you?
I think one of my younger ones has, so I have not been able to get like a cohesive review from a competent source, but that's neither here nor there. I vaguely remember playing the N64 version. I might have rented it from the old Blockbuster back when they existed. Um, but yeah, so they kind of just throw you right in. There's not too much of an onboarding process, and it's just, you're on like the rail and you go through and you snap pictures like you're on like a little safari park thing. And at the end, you take the pictures back to whatever professor is like the professor for this Pokemon game, and the game kind of rates your photos. So like, it's pretty interesting. Like they have ratings for did you get the Pokemon centered? Is it zoomed in enough? Is the Pokemon in a good pose? Is it doing something interesting? So you can kind of, um, over time you can try to, top your scores for various Pokemon. And they have, I think it kind of limits you. It's going to force you to go through the various whatever parks and stuff over and over again because as you go in level, I think the Pokemon will do more interesting stuff so you can get like higher star ratings on the photos. Um, You get like the
That's what
nighttime
I've heard,
versus
right? You can between the nighttime and also that
yeah,
as you rank up, they'll do different interactions.
right.
Yeah.
So, but it was Pokemon Snap. I know that when I was the graphics are nice. Like I mean, I don't I wasn't blown away or anything, but it was cool to just see it, you know, in like it was serviceable, like nothing special, I would say.
So
Um,
took one for the team. Uh, handheld or docked? How are you playing it? Because on
I was
handheld you
playing,
do get some motion control, right?
yeah, I was playing it handheld. So it's a lot like Splatoon. So I felt like it was a shooter when I was like a first person shooter. It felt a little bit like that. So you're going on the rail and you're moving so like you can move like your view around and then you have like the reticle that you can kind of also move a little bit independently, not completely. But I had to crank the speed up on that because like the default is like really slow and I felt like I was missing some excellent shots because my camera motions were too slow. But I I played it a couple of nights before I fell asleep. So I've gotten through a little bit, ranked up a bit, but haven't gotten too far into like the story or anything.
Yeah, I think I can appreciate I played it before I fell asleep because so often, especially in JRPGs and other things, as I've tried to dive into them, if it's after 11 o'clock, it's very easy with too many tutorials and a lot of text to slowly drift off. So
Yeah, the onboarding on this is pretty crisp. So there wasn't too much of like walls of text or anything like that. You kind of, hey, we're gonna do this. We're doing research. Here's your camera. Let's try it out. All right. Good luck.
So as you're playing it, have your kids been awake enough? I mean, have they been awake and watching you? I mean, this seems like it's a family type of game where you
I
could
just
like, oh, Dad, look over here.
the problem is I downloaded it Monday or Tuesday, so I haven't like had a non-school night to like get to it. And then you combine that with Little League season right now, it's like there hasn't been a lot of family couch gaming. So I'm hoping to play some more this weekend.
Wow, you really did take one for the team. So congratulations. So speaking of beam balls, let's go over to Tao, who's been playing a little bit of MLB The Show.
Yeah, so I think when you guys were talking about this, I wasn't on the show, so I just wanted to throw that in there real quick. Yeah, I've been really liking this. Like, I think we've talked about it in the chat and stuff. This is like my first baseball game in a long time since it's been kind of stuck behind the PlayStation for a while now. I don't know how long has it been on. Was it exclusive?
Well, since its inception, I mean, it's been on PlayStation. It's a Sony studio, so it's been on PlayStation, I believe, '07,
Yeah.
'08. I
Okay.
think might
Wow.
be the first MLB The Show.
Yeah, so it's been a long time then. Yeah, since I played any kind of baseball then. Yeah. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with this game. I do like how they give you like lots of options, how to pitch and bat and field and stuff like that. So that's actually pretty cool. I've only done, I think I've done a couple different batting play styles now. Um, I think it was the one I usually use now is kind of where they have that. I forget what they're called, but you have that little yellow reticle that you kind of move around the pitching box or the batting box when they're pitching to you.
Yeah, the zone.
Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah,
Yep. You kind of get like the three dots and
yeah,
the brackets.
yeah. So that's the one I mostly use, and then the other one was, I think I only used it for a little bit, but I can't remember what it was. I think I only used it a few times for some of the moments section where you kind of just play like a moment in sports or whatever. I can't remember which one it was, but and then the batting or not the batting, the pitching one, I just do like kind of the meter where where it kind of like goes up, you hit it and comes back down. So that's the only one I've
Kind
tried
of
so
like the
far.
classic golf, the three tap, the
Yeah,
start, stop, and stop again.
you hit again. Yeah, so that's the only one I've done for pitching so far, and that seems to work. I'm not really sure. I don't really remember what the other ones were. And I think I was just more comfortable with that, yeah, because it was just kind of familiar with me. So, but yeah, I've been doing that. Mostly I've just been doing like the weekly challenges. and then the like I said, the moment, like the history moments where you kind of just jump in there and there's like a whole like list of them you can kind of go through. So I've been doing that, and I try to start try to start the story mode, but it crashed on me like the first couple times I tried to do it. So I was like, okay, and so I just kept doing like the challenges and stuff for now, but I'll probably go back and try to go into that. Like I was able to get through like the initial like
It's history stuff it's not the March to October, which is like it jumps you into you take a team and you go through the season. The history stuff is like kind of like almost like the classic Madden where you jump into a situation
right.
and try to live something.
Yeah. So it's you just kind of keep doing it until you're able to do it, and then if you fail, you just start it over again. So yeah, I've just been doing those ones. And it was kind of cool because they kind of go back even in time. Like I was playing Jackie Wilson at one point, and some of the other older
That's
ball
cool.
players. Yeah, so it's actually pretty cool. And you can like I said, there's a whole list you can kind of just pick from. But I just started from whatever was on top and kind of was work my way down. So, and I don't know if they add to those or not. Like if it changes, it doesn't seem like it as far as I can tell. Just the weekly stuff obviously changes every week. They give you some kind of
Yeah, I think the history stuff is pretty much just stock
just
within
there.
what's ever released. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's cool. Yeah, and like the story mode, like I said, I got through like the initial, hey, like the initial just walls of text kind of just thrown at you, and then like, all right, I'm gonna start a game, and then that's where it kind of crashes like every time. I hard crashed too. I crashed back to the Xbox menu.
Really?
Yeah, so
Huh.
it's kind of weird.
This is the road to the show story mode that you're talking about?
Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know what's like two
That's
times I've
interesting too.
tried. Yeah, it just does that. I don't know why.
Have you tried recently since the patch? Because there was a patch that was supposed to patch up some of the road to the show progression. Because I talked about it 2 weeks ago, and I didn't have any problems on Xbox going through the story mode. I just stopped because the progression was not functional, and so they patched
Oh,
it.
okay.
But if they patch it in a way that crashes it, then that's a whole different issue.
No, that was like when it initially came out, so I haven't tried it since the patch. So maybe it will work now.
Okay.
We'll see. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll have to check
Yep.
it out just so I can kind of go through that because I kind of like to. I made my character and want to use myself. So
Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
yeah, but yeah, it's really cool and I put it on casual because like I said, I hadn't played a baseball game in such a long time, and usually I don't do that. Usually I like to start in the middle or medium difficulty, but I was like, yeah, it's probably gonna be kind of hard, especially since this is a simulation. I mean. So I was just like, I'll just do casual for now, and maybe I can bump it up. And I actually did. I did an online home run derby, which is actually pretty cool too. So I don't know if you've tried any of those online challenges
I
yet.
haven't tried any of the online challenges. No, I've done some Diamond Dynasty, but I haven't dove into any online. So how does the online home run derby work? Are you up against a number of people? Is
Yeah.
it like a
So when I did it, there's like maybe 8 people, maybe 10 at the most, and you kind of just you don't see the other people. You kind of just bat. Like each batting is like you kind of wait for the other person, and then it kind of shows you like the lines of where everybody hit, like for each pitch. So that's pretty cool. So it's not everybody. You have to wait there and wait for everybody to go through and pitch and hit and all that. So it's kind of cool that they did it that way. And that was another thing and I just did that I think last weekend, I believe Saturday, Sunday, and that like I don't know if it crashed or if it just kind of like ends because it just kind of like faded to black and then I went back to the menu screen. So I was like, okay, there's like no like status screen or anything. So I don't know what happened there. I think that one might
you
have kind
think
of
that the results at least. Yeah.
yeah, it was
At least there
weird.
has been in past home run derbies. So
Okay, yeah, it probably just like crap, I kind of conked out. So that's right. But I only tried it that one time because I think I was about to go to bed at that point. And I just wanted to hit something like real quick.
fair enough. Yeah. I mean, there has been in the first 2 weeks of its launch, right? I mean, since the beginning of April when it launched, or the mid-April when it launched, it really, the first 2 weeks really was plagued with a lot of server issues. And
Mm.
so that could be related to all of it as well. Like there were multiple times when I logged in at night and it was couldn't connect to the server. So
Oh, okay.
it had a number of issues there. But I think with the most recent patch that came out past weekend, beginning of this week, it seems to be a little more stable. So
Did you just get
how
it
is
for the
it running?
Xbox?
How's it look on? Yeah, I got it for Xbox. I haven't picked it up I mean, I have the show since 17, 18, 17, 19, and 20 on PlayStation 4. You're playing it on the Series X though. So
Yeah.
how does it look? How does it run? I'm sitting through load times on my Xbox One X. So
Yeah. No, yeah, it's actually pretty fast, pretty smooth. I haven't had any issues. I'm trying to think if I played it on my One X. I don't think so. I know I downloaded it. I don't think I've played it on there yet, so I have to do that to try to make that comparison. But yeah, it seems pretty quick. I have it loaded internally, so it's pretty much anything that's it's made for or can be used on the Xbox Series X. I'll just load it internally so I can play it, give it a try. But yeah, it's been great. Graphics look, I mean, just amazing. Like if it's one of those games like sports games, kind of like Madden sometimes, where if someone was walking by, I'm like, "Are you watching a game right now?" I'm like, no, I'm playing I'm playing a game right now. So
Yeah, even on the PlayStation, like putting it on a 4K TV, it feels very realistic. So
yeah, it's
that's
really
fun.
nice. They did, yeah. I'm kind of sad that I had this is like the first time I've ever got to play it. So since I haven't had PlayStation for a while, so yeah,
Well, it's great. I'm glad that you got a chance to dive in and play it, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. I think one of my takeaways from it from 2 weeks ago was really, it's a great experience for Xbox players that haven't had a chance to play it before. It's not a huge step, a huge kind of evolution from what 20 was,
okay,
which is also realistic, right? I mean, with kind of the development kind of limitations, let's say, of COVID in 2020, that the fact that it's got out and it's on multiple systems, it's I'm so glad that it's out on both systems because it's such a solid baseball game. And in a week when we find out that EA bought Meathead Studios for the Super Mega Baseball
yep,
franchise, the fact that there's a strong competitor here on both platforms now with Sony San Diego is great. So
yeah. Super weird seeing that PlayStation Studios logo, like the very first thing you see on an Xbox. So but I guess you kind of see that with Minecraft too. You get the Xbox or
yeah, that's
Microsoft
true. That's true.
logo
Yep.
on there.
You
I
get
didn't
that.
think about
Yep.
it until I was playing this one. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Hopefully the future where we can all just play anything we want on any system, no matter what. But
There
yeah,
we go, Dennis Dyack. Way to go.
that's right.
One for the future. So um Tao, you also picked up a game that I was super high on last year. I played the demo of it back in the E3 kind of demo showcase that Xbox had,
Mhm.
and it came out in the fall. It got some game awards in terms of games for change, but this is an Indian studio, um, and it's Raji. Raji, the Ancient Epic. You picked it up on Swiss. I have it on Epic actually on PC.
Oh, okay.
What made you decide to pick this up, and how are you enjoying it?
So I picked this up because, and this is obviously not a new release. Yeah, it came out on the Switch too back in August of last year. But we like to bend the rules a little here, so it's new to me, not necessarily a new release. But yeah, because of the indie showcase that they had, I think what do they call it, Indie World on the Switch on Nintendo. I was like, well, obviously most of these games are not coming out for a little bit still. There was a few games that, came out that day or were coming out within like a week or two. But I was like, let me go back to the last one, and I had to go back until last year before there was for the last Indie World showcase, which I thought there was one in between there at some point, but I guess not. And I was kind of looking through those games, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. Raji and Ancient Epic, kind of I guess is what isometric kind of a view. You're kind of top down at an angle, and look kind of cool. Kind of just the movement kind of reminds me of like old school, like Prince of Persia or Flashback, like the original ones, like the kind of almost kind of jerky movement, but it's kind of a little bit smoother, on the Switch.
Yeah,
And
it is kind of an interesting like middle ground between that kind of jerky movement of like a Prince of Persia and the combo based combat of God of War.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was another reason. It was just okay. At first I thought it was just a puzzler, just when I was kind of looking at the trailer. But then they show her where you play a woman, Raji, as the main person. She's sitting there fighting, doing jumping off walls and doing all these like weird like there's a pillar there, you can kind of like spin around it and like hit people. So I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. So that kind of called out to me. So yeah, that's why I kind of picked it out. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. Kind of not God of War, but Phoenix, or Mortals
Yeah,
Phoenix
yeah.
Rising, where you kind
Yep.
of have the two
Pretty good.
gods talking. They're not funny in this game. It's a little bit more serious.
But it does frame it within kind of that mythology aspect, and this is kind of Indian mythology, religion versus kind of Greek mythology. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. Like I didn't even realize that part of it. Like, okay, obviously I knew it was going to be in ancient times, and you're going to fight these demons and stuff. But I didn't know that the god part of it, and like, kind of like the folklore from the Indian culture, which is actually kind of cool, just because I like that kind of mythology and like folklore and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool to jump in there, and I've heard the names of some of the gods, or most a little bit. Obviously you get the famous ones like Krishna and Shiva. Excuse me. Stuff like that. And then there's other ones that I never heard of. I didn't even realize that they have like multiple gods too, just kind of like in Roman and Greek mythology. So it was kind of cool, just story wise, just kind of picking that stuff up and learning about that stuff. And yeah, it's a video game, so obviously it's might be the lens is bent a little, but you get the kind of the gist of it, and I've always been interested in that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's really cool. It plays really smooth.
How far have you gotten into the game? You sound like you've played a significant amount.
Yeah, I've probably played at least a couple hours, hour and a half maybe at the least. So I'm a good ways into at least the first part of it. I've powered up at least once, where I've got like a couple different abilities, other than just like hack and slash and like I said, the wall run and stuff like that. So yeah,
Did
played a good bit.
You said it plays smoothly. Did you play it on handheld or docked? Because like, look, I'm on the website now and I'm kind of seeing it. It's like I could imagine handheld that your character is small,
Yeah, I've only
like
played a
because of
hand.
the view.
Yeah, I've only played a handheld so far, but I didn't have any problems with this game. And maybe because there's not like a lot going on the screen itself. Like you might have maybe 4 enemies I think so far that I've seen at the most, maybe 5. But I didn't have any problems. Like they're pretty. You're not going to get lost between you and the other enemies, because they're usually pretty large, so you can kind of see what you're doing. So it's not too bad. I haven't had any problems so far with it in handheld, but I do want to kind of throw it up there on the big screen, probably on my TV, not so much maybe on the monitor I'm using now, because it's 4K, and usually a lot of stuff like that doesn't look too great. But even on this one, I just want to kind of throw it up there, see how it looks. So just to see. Yeah, I mean it looks pretty good even on the Switch, even on handheld. So it's a very very pretty game.
Yeah, it plays and it looks really nice on PC and on Xbox when I played it. And it is, I think oftentimes in the last couple months here, there's been the sales for it within the $12, $13, $15 range.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I think
as a
that's
small studio, it's a neat kind of debut project.
yeah. I think it was on sale actually when I got it too, so I was actually kind of lucky. I just happened to pick that one, so it was just kind of lucky that I got that one. So yeah, it's been a fun time though. I like it, and I'm gonna keep playing it.
Yeah, I'm glad you hear that you're liking it. I really enjoyed what I played, and I definitely need to come back to it. It's a good reminder that I picked it up on Epic, so I need to come back to that. So, um, I played a little bit of Second Extinction. So this is the dinosaur uh, Xbox game. This is out of Avalanche Studios, the guys that brought you Just Cause, the series, the multiple iterations, and it is kind of like it's like a Turok versus Left 4 Dead. Um, it is squad based, uh, and it makes sense because you have different characters, probably 6 different characters that all have different weapons. I made the mistake of choosing somebody with a grenade launcher to start with, and you only get the ability to have like sticky grenades after you level them up. So shooting a bunch of bouncy grenades at a bunch of raptors that are rushing at you and the grenades go past doesn't really work so well. So I spent a lot of time with my pistol and running away from dinosaurs. But the idea here is you're kind of tossed into a couple of different zones, different missions, and you team up with a couple other players, and you can go through. The really interesting thing that I find with this is I haven't played enough of the gameplay, and I think this would be a really fun kind of podcast game to dive into with a bunch of us kind of grouping up together, because playing it by yourself is it gives you a chance to understand the mechanics, but not necessarily kind of the whole dynamics of the game, because if you're the only one in there chasing after a group of dinosaurs or having a group of dinosaurs swarm you, or the ability to combo different weapon types, it as a single player, it's a little difficult. Um, or even as a single player tossed in with a group of people without the ability for coordination, it's a little difficult. And so the coordination aspect of it, similar to other, Left 4 Dead, Friday the 13th, even things like Evolve, getting back into that kind of group hunt aspect makes a big difference. One of the things that's interesting of Second Extinction, and I haven't had a chance to really experience it yet, is how it will scale based on the farming that's going on in the game. So if a lot of players are in one zone trying to farm certain, you know, minerals or certain enemies, that it will heavily populate that zone. It'll push enemies into that zone to make it more difficult. So if you look at the initial map, you have probably like 5 or 6 different zones that you can spawn into. Some of them are at different skill levels. Because this is an early access game, not all of them are open. But the idea there is that the game can dynamically adjust for where people are spending their time, so that it makes certain kind of potential farming zone areas uh, more difficult, because they've repopulated it or increased the density of different dinosaurs. It it is, I think there's a lot of potential here. I'm glad that it's out on Game Pass, because I think it is also one of those games where it needs a significant body of players in order to make it worthwhile. It's not something you're necessarily going to drop 20 or $30 on just as a single player experience, but with a group of people, it could be a lot of fun. So,
So when you're playing single player, do you get AI squad mates or it's just you?
uh at least when I've done it so far, it's just been me.
Oh,
So, there might be a setting in there where you could spawn, AI squad mates, but right now again, this is it's in their game preview program,
yeah, that's
so
true.
it might be something that they would add in, but right now it is just you unless you're playing. So it is it 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 loses a lot without groups to play with. So I'm going to go right from the groups to play with into our picks plays, because Swiss, you've been playing a game there on our Pix Plays. So our Pix Plays was about diving into something that's the new hotness, something that's got some NPD traction in March and April here. And Swiss, you played a little bit of Outriders, the demo, and I had played it back when the demo released, back in, I guess, March, February this.
February, I think.
Yeah, wow, that feels like a long time ago. I remember I remember Game Logic giving me a hard time about coming home early from work to play some Outriders demo. So, but you picked it up here, and this was also the game that I had planned to play a little bit of for the assignment, and truthfully, I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't get myself back into the mindset of it. So, how did you find the demo?
Basically, I saw you had it on the agenda, and I was like, maybe I'll pick it up so we can do a back and forth. But
So
since you
how far
didn't
did you
complete,
get into it? I mean, because I have got through the tutorial piece. I've gone a couple missions into it. I picked it back up when it went to Game Pass and played another mission or two. It is. I enjoy. I appreciate what it does. I don't know that I enjoy what it does.
so I've played far enough where you're through the prologue and you kind of get your superpower and everything. So um, I didn't know that much about the
What
game.
class are you playing as?
Pyromancer.
Okay, so I played as the both the trickster with like the up close kind of time skills, and also the I can't remember the name, but like the guy with the ground pound and the you pulling up rocks onto you to make an armor. So pyromancer I haven't tried to play with yet.
Sounds like the tank, but I'm not sure. I when you get to that point in the game where it's like you get your class, the pyromancer sounded like the most what I like to play as in a shooter. So they have the tank, which is up close. I tend not to play like that. They had a longer range one, and I'm not very good at sniping, and it actually looked like the Borderlands 2, although I did play that in Borderlands 2, the what was like the engineer like class in that game? Um,
Borderlands 2. I mean, so there was
yeah,
Paige, who was like the had Death Trap, but there was also a sniper there. Yeah. So
but anyway, like it looked like you can build things. I ended up like the Pyromancer's medium range, and it looked pretty straightforward for its special. Like you can fling fire, and then if you burn an enemy and you shoot them while they're burning, you can restore health. So um, in Steam, it actually said this is like Destiny, like games, other games that you played that you may, similar games that you've played, and it had Destiny 2 and Borderlands 2 as the two, and it was like as I played through it, it definitely felt very like a fusion of those two games, just story and um, it's kind of like a blended version of that. So I actually enjoyed it. I kind of like the combat. Like it's a lot less it's not first person, it's third person. So but you do use cover a little bit more. And it's been a while since I played a game that really stressed that. And I always enjoy kind of like, being in cover and then popping out and firing. Um and then
are you
it's
finding it with the pyromancer? So like with the trickster class, I didn't spend a lot of time in cover because my healing ability was about kind of melee damage. And so I spent a
mm,
lot of kind of rushing people in order to get the kills. Is the pyromancer piece a little bit different there?
you can like his like the initial attack that you get, he kind of like makes like a wave of flame go out. So I can kind of launch it from a distance um and continue to play. So um maybe the class really has a an effect on how much you can enjoy it. But the big thing for me is the story, which, I haven't gotten into it terribly far. Like it doesn't it's some sci-fi dystopian fare, but I'm getting a story and characters, and with Destiny 2, that's been slipping as they've gone from like a massively multiplayer kind of shooter to much more of an just like straight up MMO, like system grindy. This doesn't feel grindy yet. I don't know how it's gonna
Yeah, I could
evolve.
see for you and Velo, like this could be a place to spend some time as a story in
Yeah,
co-op versus Destiny, which at this point, unless you're doing the seasons, there's not much story there. And even if you're doing the seasons, you're grinding through weeks of content in order to get a season. I mean, you get a story.
yeah. So that was the other reason why I picked it up and I had her, download it. It's just we haven't had time to do the co-op. So I've decided I'm gonna finish the demo. I'm gonna put it on my Steam watch list and wait for a sale and probably pick it up whenever that happens. But it's been a very compared to like Pokemon Snap, where it's like, I was playing like Outriders and there's like all this like sci-fi mayhem and people are swearing, and then I pivot and I take my Switch and I go to bed and it's like, oh, look, a score bunny and he's falling asleep over there. I'm gonna take,
Those are very a lot of dichotomy there between the tone of like the hardcore metal aspect of People Can Fly and Outriders versus the kind of, oh, let's take some pictures of some cute little Pokemans.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been good. It, I guess Outriders is much more in like my regular wheelhouse, but between Pokemon Snap and another game that we'll talk about as we move forward, I'm trying I'm trying to evolve as a gamer, and I got some thoughts, I think. So it was good that Prime mentioned, you know, going back to an older indie showcase because yeah, I have some thoughts on that. I'm gonna build on that later.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. We'll put a pin in
Yes.
that. And Tao, you have played, to no surprise, you played one of the other top games of March of the MPDs, which is Black Ops Cold War. And so, are you playing what you normally play? Have you tried some different things here? Is it just still part of your rotation?
No, yeah, it's just still part of my rotation. Just jumping into the regular multiplayer, deathmatch and team deathmatch. I always forget what the one mode is called. I can't remember where you basically when you kill somebody or you take somebody out, it drops like their dog tags and you got to pick them up to actually score points. So it's a little bit different than just like straight up deathmatch. So it's kind of cool. They actually just started the season 3, I believe it is now. I didn't buy the battle pass this time, just because I have a couple other battle passes that I'm working through, so I didn't want to overload myself like I did the last time, with having like this and Fortnite and Rocket League, and I think I had Apex too at one point. I was like, well, I thought I could handle it, but I couldn't. I just bit off a little bit more than I could chew. So I just playing the regular. I mean, you get free stuff anyways going through it, which is fine. I mean, you don't get skins and stuff like you normally would through the buying the battle pass, but that was okay. I haven't played. I played only zombies like one time, and I have to jump back into it because it was actually pretty fun. I definitely need people to talk to in that because you got the zombies coming from every direction sometimes, and it's it gets a little overwhelming if no one's talking. So or you're shooting in one direction, all of a sudden you're getting hit from behind. So it's like, hey, what the heck? So yeah, I definitely have to jump on that with some people I could actually talk with. And other than that, I haven't played any Warzone. That's another one I can't play with
Is this
randoms anymore.
classic zombie or the new like Operation Zombies where you're in a larger map?
I haven't tried that one yet. The larger map. Yeah, I heard that was supposed to be pretty good though. So I definitely want to check that one out too. So, but yeah, just same old for Call of Duty. That was kind of a softball throw to that I did that when I hit that one. But yeah, still enjoying it. And still, like I've said a million times, I love the Black Ops series. So I'll have to play through the actual campaign at one point because I haven't done that yet either.
I thought about getting Black Ops Cold War for the Pix plays actually
Oh,
as well. But then
Whoa, now wait a minute. That is really out of a wheelhouse here.
I've been as Tao has been praising it for like ever now, and then Gascles has really gone into it. I'm like, I keep nagging at me to pick it up. Uh,
we could always play,
but
and we could all play together,
Yeah,
like
no,
zombies or something.
I played the free weekend and really enjoyed the Operation Zombies. So
Yeah,
we're gonna
I,
have to.
just
I spent my gaming money on Pokemon Snap instead, but
that's all right.
very similar, obviously.
yeah.
Call of
Yeah,
Duty,
it's
Pokemon.
first
Yeah,
person, right?
But I am I will have to like I'm gonna have to keep my eyes peeled for a free weekend. So
Yeah.
and it does has cross play and everything, so we should be good to go, right?
Yeah, and even the campaigns are. I
Yeah.
mean, in the Black Ops series are usually really good. So, and I think even Gascleve said I think he went through it the story mode, I believe, the single player.
yeah. He played the story mode on PlayStation 5,
Yeah.
I think.
So yeah,
Maybe a couple other
it's
platforms.
that 80s Cold War ish era. So if you enjoy that, obviously it's called Cold War. But yeah, I have to check that out too.
Okay, now I'm sorry. I'm distracted. I'm looking up to see if there's a discount on it right now. So
Oh,
pulled up my BattleNet to see if there was a discount.
I don't know if
But
there'll be
because
that
I
much of a discount late, at least until the next one's about to come out,
fair enough.
since
Yeah,
it's
I
been
mean,
pretty
there's
popular.
been times when like the base game is $40, which for Call of Duty
Yeah, that's pretty good.
is a pretty good discount. So Swiss, you were talking about you're getting some thoughts between your game between Outriders and Pokemon Snap and kind of how you're approaching things. And so since you came in left field here with a Call of Duty game,
Yeah.
what else have you been playing and where's your head at game wise?
Um so also very much like Call of Duty, I've played a lot of Fez recently.
Yes, that's what
But
everybody said. Call of Duty and Fez.
I
Very,
had a
very similar.
I had to go on a business trip, so I took the family Switch on the business trip. And I didn't have that much time to play games, but I played a little on the flight, and I did bring my dock and played it in the hotel room. With my kind of defeats the purpose of a portable system, but I wanted to play it on a TV. So, um,
It's actually the benefit of the Switch, right? Like if you're
yeah,
traveling for work, the dock is relatively easy to bring along with you. A
throw
dock
it in
and a
this,
HDMI cable is all you need.
yeah, throw it in the suitcase. So here's my thoughts, and I don't. I guess it might actually fall into the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So as far as Fez the game, um, I had played a little bit on the last GX show, based off the indie showcase. We picked it up. I put more time into it, and it was a nice pick up and play, like you're on a road trip type thing. Like, I got like 30 minutes to kill before the next meeting or something. And so that was good. And I found myself making significant progress into the game, which was surprising to me because I hadn't put that much time into the game. And I thought, maybe there's something to be said for these smaller titles. Like, I mean, it's not like a real revelation, but for me, like all of my games that I play are big these epic games. So it's like, investing hours and hours and hours. I put like 80 plus hours into Ghost of Tsushima. Um, and I enjoyed it and it was worth it, but I'm I'm starting to feel like I need to pivot and maybe get some more low-hanging fruit type titles. And I feel like maybe a Black Ops Cold War pick up and play. Fez, I get an interesting take. Like, so the indie games, they're going to be built smaller. I might need to start just kind of going against the grain of my game selection to
Hold on a minute. You just said indie games and Call of Duty Black Ops. So
it's the 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 common thread is that they are both smaller, like I can pick up and play and feel like I've accomplished something.
okay, sure.
So
You can play a
so
round of a multiplayer game. Yep,
right.
I
So
get you.
Call of Duty, like, yeah, that's a big title, but I could play with you guys and feel like I've accomplished something. For like my story based, um, just my wheelhouse type games, I think the indie scene might have experiences that I can get through in a relative quick amount of time. So it's not so much that it's indie versus Call of Duty, it's that like I need to start looking at different um just looking maybe in different places for some games just because of how much time I have to play. And while I enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima and God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn, it's like, man, it took me like 6 months, 7 months to complete the games, you know. So I don't know. I'm not saying it's a coherent thought. I'm just saying when I was sitting on the plane playing Fez and like what it means to be a gamer.
Yeah, no, I can totally appreciate that, right? As both a parent and adult and somebody who's juggling a lot of different things, the ability to jump in to a short game experience or contain the game experience and feel some satisfaction out of it. I'm right there with you. Between baseball, football, basketball, and golf, that's been most of where my gameplay experiences have come from. I've been playing a couple rounds of 2K, still in the Madden franchise, playing a little bit of NBA 2K. In some ways because I can dive in, play a game, play for a half hour or 40 minutes and walk out feeling like I've progressed something. It makes it easy to jump in and out of. And so I can appreciate that idea, Swiss. So
Yeah, and I think, and I've kind of gone down this route too, where I've kind of been looking at the indie stuff a little bit more so maybe. Well, basically because they're usually shorter games, but also because just I haven't seen anything like that I wanted to buy really. I mean, lately, Although Outriders does look kind of cool. I've heard a lot of good things about that, and also the second extinction too. But I mean, those are not well known titles. So, those are, I mean, from fairly well known studios maybe, but not something that's mega hits, and that they've produced mega hits and stuff like that. And other than, I mean, still, even when I'm looking at this year, like other than Halo at the end of the year, hopefully, there's really nothing that I'm like looking forward to. I mean, we're gonna hit summer, and summer's usually pretty dry, anyways. So I'm looking at all these indie games and there's been a lot of indie games that I've seen too, even in the like I said in the last showcase that kind of piqued my interest and hope. And I think a lot of them actually were coming out in the summer, so maybe I'll be picking up a lot more of those.
Tal, I agree with you. I look at the calendar of releases and I don't see anything that really gets me excited. I am very interested as a BioWare and Mass Effect fan of the legendary re-release here, but yeah, there's a lot of smaller games more so than big AAA titles. And Tal, it looks like you've played a little bit of a smaller game that I is also on Game Pass, River City Girls. It is kind of in that River City Ransom kind of beat 'em up side scroller aspect, but you played it not on Game Pass, but also you played it on Switch. So, what got you interested in this, and how did you discover River City Girls?
Well, I've heard of it. I had heard about it before, and to be honest with you, I didn't even know I didn't even know it was on Game Pass. So I don't know. Maybe that's my fault that I just wasn't paying attention. But I mean, I'm paying for the game. At least I'm giving the devs some.
Way to support the developers. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, even though and I think there's an article about this too, about how the developers get paid on Game Pass. But it's kind of nice just to give them the money directly and support them. But yeah, and to be honest with you, man, I was right when you asked me, I was like, I'm not even sure how or why I even picked this up. I think I was just flipping through the store, flipping through the discounts, and it was like, I don't know, maybe like $7, $8, $9, something like that, something pretty cheap. And I was like, oh, and it kind of interested me because I always liked River City Ransom, back in the day, and I think they re-released it maybe a couple times or had sequels or something. And I unfortunately never got to pick those up, but this one I was like, let me try this out. Let me give it a try. And I've only played like, I don't know, maybe half hour or so, 45 minutes at the most so far. I just picked it up a couple days ago, so it's another one of these games where I could just pick up and do a couple rounds, a couple beat 'em ups. I think even in just that half hour, I got past like the first, I guess like you'd call it a tutorial level, where you're kind of trying to get out of the school. You beat the one boss, at the end of that. So, it's just pretty much a straight up beat 'em up as far as I could tell so far. It looks like you can, kind of attach or put on like different. You like pick up items and stuff, and you can like attach it to yourself, and it gives you like 1% health. If no one's hitting you or no one's by you or something. Just different kind of stats like that. So, and you can like attach 2 of those to yourself at one point, and I only got 2 right now, so I'm assuming at some point, you probably get just more and more. And you kind of have to swap them out and see whatever your play style is. You kind of pick and choose what you need. But other than that, I really don't see any other kind of like there's no other kind of like RPG elements of any kind that I see. I don't know if you've played it or if either of you have played it at all. If it's more involved after that, but it seems like
I've only played through like the first beginning part there within the school, so no. I mean, in some ways, it does feel very much like the River City Ransom aspect of it, where it's RPG kind of tangential, right? Like there's things you can equip, but there isn't necessarily there's things that you can kind of skill up, but there's not kind of that traditional kind of level grind aspect.
Yeah,
But
there's no like
how
level
does it
tree
play
or
in the
anything.
Switch? I mean, I thought it was very fluid. I really enjoyed. I'm chuckling when you talk about. I've only played an hour and a half. Like this is a beat 'em up. And if you played an hour and a half at your local arcade in 1991, that's a lot of time that you spent
Yeah.
plopping quarters in. So, in some ways, I feel like you invested a good amount of time in this game based on the genre that it is.
No, yeah. I mean, it plays fine. Once again, I'm playing only handheld so far, and it's kind of like not necessarily like 8-bit or 16-bit. It's a little bit more. It's a little bit better than that, but still kind of sprite based ish graphics. So it looks like fine on the Switch. I mean, I haven't seen any problems so far. There's probably been like half a dozen or so, or even a little bit more enemies on at a time, and I haven't seen any slowdown or anything like that. So yeah, it's played pretty smooth. You I'm assuming you could play co-op because there's like two different characters you can pick from at the beginning. So it might be something that actually that I can get my wife to jump in onto. So straight up beat 'em up. It's not nothing too involved. So I can see us playing this together.
Yeah, I could. I mean, that makes sense, right? And it is. It's very fluid, very very smooth, um, and very responsive. At least on the Xbox, I found it very responsive as well. So I'm assuming you found it that way on the Switch. It's
Yeah. It's been pretty good.
cool. Well, I'm gonna jump from one retro game to another, but maybe not quite as far back. But gentlemen, I hate to tell you this, but I have spent a lot of my time on my phone playing mobile games, and so whether it is my month of Apple Arcade or my whole deep dive into Match 3 games on my phone, but I spent a lot of time with Puzzle Quest 3. So Puzzle Quest 3 by D3. So Puzzle Quest came out back in 2007, 2008 on the DS and PSP. Puzzle Quest 3 is by the same developers. Tao, you and I have talked a little bit about what Gems of War last time, which is also by the Puzzle Quest developers. And so Puzzle Quest 3 is in early access on Android, and it is Puzzle Quest. I mean, it's got a little bit of a story. You get some upgrade pieces. The most interesting thing about this is in terms of the combat. The most interesting thing about this in terms of the gameplay is that rather than the traditional match 3 where it's simply one move, here you have 2 seconds since you start your from when you start your move to make as many moves as you can. And so, it's not the first game to do this, but it does add a layer of strategy to the traditional puzzle quest where it's not simply just a one and done, but you spend a little bit of time kind of lining up your shot almost in a way like, okay, I know I need to, if I do this and do this, and then I can drop down this. And within 2 seconds, you can maybe get 3, 4 moves in if you've planned them out enough. And so you can chain together a number of pieces. And that to me has been pretty engaging. I don't know. I'm level 18, 19 or so as a character. Um, I think that aspect of it makes the gameplay fun and engaging, and I really dove into it. But the free to play aspect of it, gentlemen, makes me a little more hesitant. And it's not so much, really, it is not free to play in the traditional free to play of like multiple currencies and you could buy this to then buy this to give yourself some more stamina. The thing where I feel like in some ways it does itself a disservice is the only thing I can really buy at this point is a VIP pass, or I can buy crowns to unlock more keys. To You get chests, and the chests, depending on the rarity of the chests, they unlock more things, and you can have minions kind of go on missions to unlock your chests. So, this is the kind of weight aspect of a free to play game. Like I've unlocked, I have 2 chests, but I have to have my minions unlock it 11 hours later. And if I pay for the VIP, the $10 a month uh, bundle, then I can have a third chest. Um, which is all fine and good, but what it ends up doing is if I have gotten high gear chests and they're off in there's not a mechanism, they're off in their, kind of delayed gratification aspect of this. There's not a way that I could pay the developers more to unlock a chest. Like if I have 2 legendary chests and suddenly I'm playing and I get an epic chest, which actually happened. I, I don't have a I can't do anything other than salvage that chest. I can't give them gems. I can't buy a currency to unlock that. I can't even go in and cancel some of my legendary quests chess in order to then have the epic or whatever the higher tier is. So there's definitely some pieces here where I hope they can kind of iron out as they launch the game. Again, it's still super engaging. It's something I come back to. I play a little bit every day. But it's also one of those, because of that mechanic, I'm okay only playing a little bit every day. Um, but it's a lot of fun. I like the mechanics of having multiple moves each time. So I will come back to it as it continues to progress its way through into a 1.0 release. Right now, I think it's on like a point 3, so it's got a while to go yet. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. The other thing I've been spending my time with, gentlemen, is not a game, but is a book, and it's Ask Awada. And so this is a bunch of translated Awada quotes and commentaries and interviews over the course of his time. So this is Iwata from Nintendo, president of Nintendo fame, who tragically died a few years back. And really I just want to read a couple of different quotes here. So as I've been spending my time through it, I actually purchased 2 copies, one to give to each of my kids. And so maybe that's me as a terrible Nintendo fanboy buying Iwata. But here are 2 quotes that I really found enjoyable. And so the first is about the Switch, about the Wii, right? This is on page 100. In developing the Wii, I asked myself repeatedly, what can we do to prevent video games from being seen as an intrusion on family life? This led to the hypothesis, or perhaps the absurd proposition, of a feature that would allow parents to set a daily time limit for gaming, say 1 hour per day, where a console would physically shut off after the gameplay. What would possess a president of a video game company to do such a thing? So, right? I mean, I think about back with the Wii and how many times as you were playing Wii Sports that you got the little reminder of the table and the window with a little bit of a breeze saying, you've been playing this for a while, why don't you go out and take a break, right? So this is a uh, very non-corporate thing to do, where the Wii put itself in this mode of kind of monitoring and giving the player a reminder of how long you've been playing. But the other piece of this book that I've been enjoying as a employer, as a manager, is that it's not just video game based, but there's some management pieces here as well. And so this one stuck out with me. This is on page 62. I've been thinking, people waste their time worrying about problems that can't be solved by worrying. If worrying would solve the problem, then I'd say go ahead and worry. But somehow we can't stop ourselves even when worrying solves nothing and leaves us empty handed. There's your Iwata deep thought of the day. So again, it's relatively cheap on Amazon. It's in the 13-15 range. And as both a Nintendo fan and as kind of a manager, as an interpersonal relation organizational management person related to my own career, that this I've enjoyed this book. So that's what I've been playing. Um, Gentlemen, have you? I mean, the book came out back in April. Have you picked it up? Have you seen people talk about it as two Nintendo? Since Game Logic is not on the podcast, I wanted to bring up the Nintendo fanboy aspect of our realities here.
No, I haven't.
I
Nope, go ahead.
yeah. I was just gonna say, like, I think that um gaming literature is something that I probably should invest more time in. Um, Most of my books have tended to be like very not gaming related, just because it's like a change up, right? But just looking, I saw you put it in the agenda, and just looking at like the Amazon page and reading some of the quotes that he has and everything, and the book's not expensive, so um, I think I might want to pick it up. Um, yeah, I like the on my business card, I'm a corporate president. In my mind, I'm a game developer, but in my heart, I'm a gamer.
Yeah, I mean, if you enjoyed any of the like Ask Iwata that the Nintendo website would produce back in the Wii days, this feels very much in that aspect. So
Yeah, no, I didn't pick it up either. I thought that's what it was. I thought it was just a collection of those. So this is like just other quotes and stuff from him, though, right? Correct? There's other
yeah, it's
stories.
instead of him asking questions of people, it's people asking questions of him or his kind of like his own little. It's almost like a journal aspect around his thoughts. So it's one of those where it's over a cup of coffee in the morning, I can grab a few and feel pretty satisfied.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah, I've heard good things about it. So yeah, I definitely would want to check it out. And probably like a lot of people nowadays, I haven't done nearly as much reading as I probably should. So yeah, it's definitely something I can pick up.
oh, I know
It would be
that
more in
was
my
my
wheelhouse.
yep, that was my New Year's resolution about reading more, finishing more books, and I have fallen off of it come March. So I was staying strong for a while, but like many New Year's resolutions. So this was a good one to come back to. Um, Speaking of books and comics, Tao, you have played a little bit of the Avengers on Series X. And so I know you've been playing the campaign, which I loved last fall and really enjoyed it. How are you enjoying? I know you picked it up for the cheap on a sale. So
Yeah,
how's it going for you?
yeah. Finally, finally, I've started the Avengers. I had this for I think like 3 months now. I actually bought it physical from I think it was actually a GameFly sale that they have because they always do sales on
Yeah, I think it was like $15 on a GameFly sale at the holidays.
yeah, it was
So
super cheap. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pick it up. And since it was physical, I just had it off to the side, and I kind of forgot about it because I wasn't staring at it or it wasn't on my screen. But yeah, I finally picked it up. Yeah, I'm having a really good time with this. I didn't realize it was going to be as story heavy as it is, like especially at the beginning, like before you get past like the major thing that happens. It's you kind of just following Kamala Khan during her like Avengers festival thing, and I was just like, oh, okay, this is kind of different, which I guess kind of makes sense because it's coming from they did Tomb Raider, right? Is this the studio that did Tomb Raider or?
yeah, it's Crystal Dynamics. So they did the reboot of the Tomb Raiders,
Yeah,
and which are at least the first two. They did the original, the red. They did the Rise, and they did
Shadow,
no,
Shadow,
Shadow's the
or
most
is this
recent
at the
one.
second?
So they did Rise, and they did the original Tomb
Original,
Raider
okay.
Definitive. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like, oh, this it's kind of different, and you got all these story aspects, and like I said, I got past that part, and I'm following her now in the next phase, I'll say, of the game, kind of traversing the city as it is now, or in the game. But yeah, it's actually, man, I'm really liking this story so far. I haven't tried any of the online stuff, and
It's
even
a fun story. I stick with that, man. It is the best part of that game. It's well worth the $15 you spent.
yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't tried anything else, any of the online stuff, or any some of the extra. I guess they're story. Are they story missions or like the Hawkeye thing and
So
a couple
once
other
you
things I've
finish the
seen?
story campaign, you can kind of grind through some existing missions but now they've got, you have both the Kate Bishop and the Clint Barton story aspects, which you can load into separately.
Okay,
And both of those are pretty enjoyable as well.
okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if that was like a separate storyline or if that was like something to do with like the online multiplayer thing. So, but I know they have like separate events for those too. But yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna stick with the story and actually the gameplay itself is actually really nice. It's really I like when I was playing as Thor and the Hulk and Iron Man, they all play very different in Black Widow. It's not kind of I mean it's the same like yeah you're hitting a button, but they actually fight different. It's not like they're not like carbon copies of themselves, so it's actually kind of nice. Obviously Hulk is just like all melee. Um, And I think actually like my favorite one that I was actually playing was Thor because he had like a bunch of different things you can do other than just like melee, punching and stuff. He can use his hammer and bring down the lightning and all this other kind of stuff. So it was actually pretty cool. Actually, I'm really enjoying the gameplay so far.
Yeah, he's pretty diverse compared to like the melee or the range combat of Iron Man or, Black Widow. Captain America are very much in that kind of melee aspect, but
Yeah.
I think it fits very much in with River City Girls, right? It's a brawler at its
Yeah.
heart, right? It is a comic book brawler, but it has that kind of mentality to it, and it works in the story mode. I think Avengers got a lot of knocks because it tried to be a live service. It still tries to be a live service. It just Chris Dynamics announced 2 weeks ago that one of the designers on Marvel Heroes, the kind of the gazillion game, the multiplayer MMO aspect, has been brought on to help the team, but it is strongest when it is just simply a story focused campaign, and it's really enjoyable. So I'm glad you're getting a chance to dive into it.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, I'm gonna continue on with that one too.
All right. So Swiss, we've been talking about some brawlers and some other stuff. Anything else on your playlist that you've had a chance? I know you were out on the road. So anything else you had a chance to
Um,
play or want to talk about?
just been chipping away at Civ 6, the play by cloud. Um, somebody wandered a settler into my like what I call my manifest destiny zone and founded a city. But I am happy to see that it's going to be a while, but the city's going to revolt. And
So
yeah,
your spheres of influence are strong enough that you are
yeah,
bringing them into the fold. Excellent.
hopefully, hopefully. So there's that. I played it on the plane, which um it runs on my work laptop, which is nice. But that like for a plane ride, I flew from one side of the country to the other, so it was a long plane ride, and it killed the time. I gotta say, Civ 6 will do that.
Yes, one more turn over Ohio or
Yeah.
Idaho makes a big difference. So excellent. 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 So all right, gentlemen, this is bringing us to the close of episode 191. Before we head out here, we've got next week, we are back. Actually, all four of us are here next week to talk about the games news and industry. And yeah, there's some stuff going on here. So it's not a huge news week, but you never know what's going to happen. So as we ramp up heading into May and into June with E3, there's plenty of ideas and news to drop for us to talk about next week. So make sure to join us back on episode 192. But before we head out, because we are grown-ups who game, we've got our Picks Plays assignment. And as we head into the summertime months, we are looking down the barrel of E3. And what our assignment is here is to do a little bit of E3 predictions. Dive into a franchise or a game studio or developer that you think is going to have an announcement at this year's E3 or E3 tangential, right? Like whether it's a Nintendo Direct or a Sony or any other, Devolver Digital, something that's going to give us some news around that second full week of June as we head into E3. So dive in here, do a little prognostication, right? Look ahead in your crystal ball and see what you think is going to be a good tie-in or a good developer or transitional franchise for E3 2021. Gentlemen, I don't know that we've spent a lot of time looking at our crystal balls yet. So give yourself some time to dive in and think about who's got a game release that we haven't thought of or that we expect coming in to this next E3. Any other thoughts, gentlemen, before we head out, either on what you've been playing or what you expect to be playing in the coming weeks?
I did pick up another game today, but I only played it for like a few minutes. It's called Skate City
Oh yeah,
on
so
the
that
Switch.
was on Switch, but it was originally on Apple Arcade. So
Oh, was it? Okay.
have you had a chance to launch it yet on Switch?
Yeah, I played a little bit of like the challenges that you can do. So far, yeah, it seems to be pretty cool. But like I said, I haven't played too much of it, so I'll go into it next time.
Yeah, I liked it on Apple Arcade. I mean, I'll be interested to hear what you think of it because you've played also some Ali Ali recently, and so
Yeah.
there's some similarities there, but there's also some differences.
Oh
So
yeah.
this joins the ranks of other Apple Arcade games like Grindstone or um, Sonora Wild Hearts or whatever that one was from last fall. Um, yeah, so a number of Apple Arcade games that have made their way over to Switch as well. So Neo City is another one.
Hmm. Those are usually like timed exclusives then, or timed
Yeah, it seems like
releases.
they're timed exclusives to Apple Arcade that then make their way to Switch. Yep.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah,
Yep.
I'll report back next time.
Nice. Excellent. Anything for you, Swiss?
No, I'm gonna struggle to come up with the Pix plays because I could play Metroid Prime, but you know,
I don't think that's gonna make the E3 this year,
I
but
don't think
if you
so
want
either.
to.
Maybe.
No, actually, gentlemen, I think we should find some time to even if if you and I don't pick up Call of Duty Black Ops, I think there should be some time here in the coming weeks for us to dive into some games together, whether we try a little bit of Outriders once we get to the multiplayer pieces, or uh, Tao, I would love to try a little bit of Second Extinction with you and see
Oh
what
yeah.
that feels like with some other players as
Yeah,
well.
that'd be
So
cool.
I think the last time we all four really tried to really all got together. I want to say, for whatever reason, I'm having like hideous flashbacks to Bleeding Edge.
Oh,
that was
I
the
think
time
that
that the three of us.
was.
Well,
Yeah.
no, the three of us played Scythe, right? The
Oh
PC
yeah.
Ah,
board
right,
game.
the board
We
game.
played
Yeah.
that over a year ago now at this point, probably.
Yeah.
So
It's been a while since we played anything.
yeah, so no, we're definitely due for a good E2KG network game night.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think I've played COD with Gamer Logic a few times, but other than that, yeah, haven't really played anything with you guys. So
cool. Well, hopefully, maybe that is what we will report back on next time. So, for myself, DBQ Hams and Swisscar and Towmaster99, this has been episode 191 of the Enough to Keep Going podcast here on the E2KG network. Feel free to join us again next week. I'm so glad you were here listening whenever you are. We are so thankful to have the time together, the time with you, and we ask that you continue to stay with us and keep playing the games you love, keep enjoying those you play with, and take care of each other out there. All right, everybody, good night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Oh, for sure.